Hi everyone, today we are going to be doing a picture from this Rita Berman book. When I did, wrong page, sorry, I did this flower for you a while ago, and I was asked if I could do this page by someone, and obviously they had been looking at this page while they were colouring this one. So I thought, yes, let's have a go at this page. It's really cute. It's fairly spring-like as well, which I think is nice, although maybe slightly autumnal. I don't know. We've got lovely florals anyway, so I thought it was a really nice page to have a go at. What I'm going to start with today is actually the little mouse. I think he is probably one of the elements on the page that maybe you might want a little bit of help with. I'm just going to try and put him in the middle of the page. Now I'm going to be using my Black Widows pencils today, and I'm actually going to just make a start while I'm talking. Now I have the spider set, and the Cobra set. I'm going to start with spider web, that's why I got confused, and this is the lightest grey that I've got from those two sets. If you're not using Black Widow, just use any light grey to start with. I'm going to make the mouse grey, as you may have guessed. And I'm just going to go over the mouse with a layer of light grey all over. Now I've chosen Black Widows because they sharpen to a nice point and they keep their point fairly well. And I want to do some fur on our cute little mouse. And to do fur you need a sharp pencil. You can use pen, but I prefer pencil, as you know. I do use pens a little bit, but so anyway, that's why I have chosen these. If you don't have these, you will find that Staedtler Ergosoft sharpened to a good point, and Prisma very thin, Prismacolor very thin, and I'm sure there are others. Staedtler Noris, another. I'm sure there are other harder brands. I think the Derwent Artists, or is it Studio, one of the Derwent sets are quite good for that too. Polychromos will as well. They keep their point well and they sharpen well, but I just wanted to use something different to polychromos. We're using polychromos in the afternoon videos at the moment, so I thought, why not just do something a little bit different. So I have recently coloured some dogs in a picture. You see it if you go to my Facebook page. Actually, I may have put it on Instagram. Can't really, probably. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. And it was a picture from the Colouring Heaven magazine, and it was a picture of dog Rose, who's a witch, and there were dogs in the picture, and I'd not coloured animals so big before, so it was a bit of a challenge, but now I've done it, I feel like I'm more able to do other animals, which is why I felt confident in picking up this page. I do have quite a few requests of colouring pages to work through, and I will be doing those over, you know, for a while. I've got some from Millie Marotta, I've got some from the Disney Kincaid book, and some from other Rita Berman books as well. So I have got tail. I have got, I know that people have been asking for different pictures, and I am doing them. It just takes time to do them all, because, you know, even with 2 videos a day, there's still a lot to get through, and it's great, and it's lovely to know what I'm doing next and have something to sort of aim for, as it were. I'm going to dip into my Cobra set now, and I have a colour called Dim Grey. I don't know if it's lighter or darker than this one. It looks darker even though it's called Dim Grey. Now the spider web is quite browny grey. I rather like it. We're going to use the dim grey and see if we can put some shadows in. I'm thinking it's a bit darker, so I'm thinking under the chin it's going to be a little bit darker. Now we're still not doing fur. I realise that we may need to go back over these bits later once we put the fur on, because it might just overtake everything, but I just want to get some sort of lines in here so I know what I'm doing. Did I colour all the way over that stalk? It looks grey. I've got no idea. Am I just going mad? Maybe it's just a visual illusion, or maybe I really did colour all over it. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to worry about it. Goodness, it's windy. I've just noticed how windy it is outside. See, I don't know if we need very much darker areas really. It's quite nice to do a little bit under the eye, just to emphasise the eye because it's so cute. And in the ear, if you think about you're looking inside the ear, it's going to be darker because it's a little bit deeper inside. A bit confused by the fact that we can see in this ear, because surely it would be tipped the other way, but maybe it's just a pretty pan. But anyway, we'll just colour it. Now we have got a charcoal colour which I'm going to use next, and this mouse might end up looking quite dark, but we'll see, because charcoal is usually quite a dark colour. But I'm sharpening it to a good point, and we're going to start doing fur. Now when you do fur, I start down here because it's comfortable for my hand. You see we've got some lines drawn on here already. Think about the direction of that fur. Because we've got lines drawn on, we can follow that direction. And I'm going to do little lines, but you don't want them all to start and end in the same place. So it's trying to get a sort of randomness to it without it looking too odd. Sometimes the darker, see when I've done this, the darker areas that I've marked might just disappear. It's also, you need to think about the length of those fur pieces that you're colouring. How long would they be compared to the side of the animal? If I did a piece of fur that long, the whole length, obviously that wouldn't be right. I'm sort of going with these lines here, which I think might be shading lines really, rather than, you know, sort of shadow, rather than indicating the sort of length of fur. But I'm sort of using those because it feels like they're about the right length. And I'm just going a bit randomly. We're thinking about the direction, so I think down the belly it would be straight. It would go across on the face, so I think up on the ears. So we do the belly now. As I mentioned it doesn't really matter where you begin and end. You might want to do the belly a slightly different colour. I may do some darker fur on some areas of the body and leave the belly in this lighter colour, but we'll just see how it looks. The good thing with fur is that you can just keep layering it up with more of the same colour or darker colours, or even lighter if you use a pen, a white pen, until it looks how you want it. And it takes time, obviously. It doesn't take as long as, I've just got to blow my nose, sorry. It doesn't take as long as, what's that dotting technique called? Oh gosh. But it does take a while, and you need to be patient and know that you've got time to do it if you want to commit to doing it. Because if you rush it, you probably end up getting your fur pieces too long, which is what I have done that before. I wanted to get to the end quickly and they were too long, and it just was out of proportion for the animal. I mean, these are still too long for an animal this small, but they need to be long enough so you can see them without being sillily long. So it can be tricky. We're coming out from underneath the grass as well. Just looking at the time, making sure that I don't need to rush, so that's good. Got to make sure that I am ready to cook tea for the children later. I realise this video is going out early in the morning, but it isn't early in the morning when I'm recording this. And my one son is not too good today, I don't think. He had his braces fitted yesterday, some new, I'm going to sharpen this in a minute, it's getting a little bit too blunt. He had some additional braces put on, and of course it's a bit sore when they first go on, and so he did have a paracetamol last night before going to bed and had a good sleep, but this morning he was sore. He didn't want a paracetamol before going to college. He doesn't really like taking pills, but he takes them if he's really sore, like he did last night. And I try to not encourage him to take pills, but make sure that he isn't in unnecessary pain, because it's you know, suffering isn't very nice, and if you can take a pill and it gets better, then why not? But I've got to think about what to cook him for tea that isn't gonna make his mouth sore, so nothing crispy and crunchy. I had thought about giving him some chicken, which he really likes, and actually he might be happy with that, even though it might make him a bit sore just because he likes it. Or I might do some macaroni cheese, because that's nice and soft, but it takes a bit more effort to cook. Depends how long my videos take, I guess. As you can see, we're getting a sort of furry effect on our little mouse now. Oh, I am getting writer's cramp in my hand. It's quite an intense process. If you're a pen user, you could do this in pen. It would probably show up a little bit more, and you could sort of overlap the lines a bit to you know, make him look even more furry. You can do that in pencil too, of course, and you can always use a white pen to sort of break up the edge to make it look more furry. The only thing is we haven't done our background yet, so once we do that, now this has got a pattern on it, it's a little bit difficult, but I'm just gonna do fur on top anyway. When I first saw this picture, I thought that was an Easter egg, just at a real quick glance. I mean a proper Easter egg, not... If you're a computer gamer, you'll know that an Easter egg is a little hidden surprise within a game. And it wasn't... I actually thought it was a real Easter egg, like a decorated egg, and then I realised it was just the mouse. But I'm going to ignore the pattern and just put fur on it, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work. But anyway, that I've got it. I've got the idea in my head. I'm going with it. So we've got a face. Now this bit, do you see it's marked out as if it's going to be a different colour? So again, I'm going to do it all with this to start with, but I might do some darker patches. We'll just see how it goes, really. Let's see how it looks when I am done. When I did the dogs that I was talking about, I actually did 4 layers of fur, but I started off too pale. I wasn't very confident in colouring them, and I thought pale would work with the rest I'd done as well, and it didn't. So I went over them a few times to get the colour that I wanted. So that was good. Now these are sort of curving round, I guess. The fur is coming around there. Quite hard to work out which direction it might be in. If you've got a pet, it might help you. Look at their fur. I don't mean a goldfish, that wouldn't be much. Mouse, hamster, dog, cat, they might be useful. I used to have pet fish, and budgies as well. We didn't have cats, dogs. We weren't really that sort of family. weren't so keen. Actually, I think my sister wanted a dog. She's got one now. Well, her daughter's got one now, but yeah, they've got one in the house. In fact, it's not there at the minute because her daughter isn't there. But that's beside the point. Normally, they have the dog in the house with them. And that you're going to say, well, you're going to wonder what type of dog it is. I've no idea. It's some sort of cross. It's quite a small dog. So, I don't know. It's young, puppy, active, excitable. Right. So there is some fur. And what I'm tempted to do is to use the flat black and go over some of it. This is again from the Cobra set. So it's going to be a bit darker. I quite like, and I'm going to think about the ears. I want those to be darker, so I'm going to put some in the ears of this flat black. I don't know how well it's going to show up. I think it depends how hard you press. But, so you can just keep layering and layering and layering. You can layer with black and white pen, with fine liners would be really good. Should we go with this one? I'm thinking if I'm lazy, I could just do the darker bit on the belly and the nose here, and then leave the rest, and then I won't have to do so much work. How lazy. I should do it here anyway. Make this bit a little bit darker. I think it will give him a little cute personality. Just like he's getting his nose into things. Oh. And let's do that. Let's do it actually in the areas where we thought would be darker, and there'll be some shadow, like under here, and just along there and here. So we can sort of emphasize the shading and shadows, I should say. It's not really shading, without and still keep the fur look along those edges. Now the tail, I wasn't really sure. Do they have furry tails? I think I'm going to make it furry. It isn't drawn furry though, is it? But I just think it'll look cuter. So I'm going to do it. I haven't seen any mice lately. My mum gets them sometimes under her bird feeder. They're so cute. Actually, I see them when we go out to the Wetland Trust on Slimbridge near us, and they have a little mouse area. It's so cute. And it has this board, and it's just the cutest thing, and it says when the mice, I think they're harvest mice, it says when they're born, then the size of a baked bean. I'm going to use this. This is the Black Widow. It's the black from the spider set. I'm going to use it in these ears because for me that isn't dark enough. So you can imagine, a little mouse the size of a baked bean? So adorable. Oh. Imagine holding that in your hand. Next time you have some baked beans, have a look at the size of them and think, oh, little tiny mouse. Ooh. So cute. Oh, I like that. That's worked well. I'm gonna make the belly a bit darker. I don't know why, on a whim, I just decided that I'd like to make that a bit darker. So that's what I'm going to do. And then this will probably be my last bit for this mousey. You could make him all darker if you want, because it doesn't look too black, because we've got all these gaps with other colours. You could always add a bit of white pen if you've got one. I would use the Sakura 05, so a fine pen to get really little details. Some people are actually very good at getting fine details with quite a thick nib, but I can't do that. So I suggest using a fine pen. Oh, he looks quite furry now on his belly, doesn't he? Soft and strokeable. Imagine. Oh, cuddly. Right, there he is. Now let's do this this ear of corn. I think so. I'm thinking about what colours, and I'm going to make the seed the same colour as these. We want really a goldish brownish colour, and I'm thinking we have got in the spider set, I'll just show you. In the spider set we've got this colour, which is stink bug, nice name. And we've got this mustard. I think these two colours are quite good. I'm just going to sharpen that stink bug a bit more. I'm just going to get my eraser and erase along this, because I really think it's grey, and I don't know, as I say, I don't know if it's my eyes or if I did accidentally colour it grey. I'm just going to check. No, I don't. I think it's not changing colour. Right. Now, I think I'm going to use the lighter one first. So this is the mustard. And just do a layer. And it's going to look quite bright compared with the colour of the little mousey. But I think it'll be okay. I don't know whether there are any breeds of mouse that are grey, or whether I've just invented one. It just felt right, because the ground, I felt would be earthy and dark, sort of brown, and the house might be as well. So that's that. I'm going to do the same with these. I won't demo these as well. I'm going to do them in the same way. So they'll all be coloured with a base of this to start with. And then I'm going to use this stink bug colour. We may introduce another colour as well. We'll see how we get on. And I'm going to put a layer at the bottom of this stem. You can see how it's going a little bit more golden brown. I hope you can see. I'm not zoomed in massively closely just because I wanted you to be able to see the whole mouse. And across there and across there. Now for the corn, see, what I want to do is make it darker here where it's sort of overlapping. Like this. I think we'll do a little bit darker on that one, just so it sort of matches. Like that. And I'm going to go back to the mustard and colour over them because I want them a bit brighter, and this will add this layer of colour. Another layer, it will just brighten them up. I think it looks rather pretty. Now with these, I will probably just do them dark on one end. How I choose which end is a good question, and I haven't really thought about it. I will probably do the end nearest the bottom, this end like here, and these on their side. I might actually just do the bottom bits darker, so the bits on the side or the bits so whichever bit is nearer to the bottom of the page will be the darker bit. Now if you want a little bit more contrast between the base of the wheat or corn and the rest, you can use a slightly darker brown. I'm just looking to see what we've got in this. Oops, in the spider set. I think, yeah, this is the Foxy Brown, and it's quite a bit darker. So if you just want to do some shadows, not too much, you can just add a little layer of it here and there. Like that. Yeah, I hope that it just gives it a slightly more three-dimensional look. Now, actually I think I will do these little corn. We have got time, so we'll we'll move them slightly more across for you. And so we're going to cover all of them in the mustard to start with a light layer, just like we did with the ear of corn. Quite rough. Try to get it even, but don't worry if you don't. In their nature, they're not perfectly formed and perfectly even, are they? Oh, sorry, telephone rang. Someone trying to sell me some loft insulation, and I don't have a loft. Well, I have a bedroom in my loft, so it's all insulated and fine. As I'm colouring these, I'm thinking they look like pistachio nuts. They've got that little sort of split and things, but I'm sure they're bits of this. Yummy. I love pistachio nuts. They always hurt my finger though, because we buy them in their shell, and you shell them, it sort of makes my fingers, the skin peel off my fingers. Right, I've rushed that a little bit I think, but I need to find the next colour. Just need to give myself a bit of room. So we're now moving on to the stink bug, and I'm going to show you what I mean by shading at the bottom. So putting some shadow, so near the bottom of each one, just put a layer down. Like that. Nice and gentle. Here we've got a bit of an overlap, so we could still add a bit because there'd be a bit of shadow. And as I say, we don't need to worry about it being too uniform. It's a part of nature. I'm sure whether they're wheat, corn or whatever they are, they're not going to look identical to each other. Sorry, I've gone very quiet, haven't I? I'm sort of almost forgetting that I'm actually recording and you might want to hear me talk. But I am just doing the same thing over and over. I've been recording a lot today, so I think I've sort of run out of things to say. Okay, so we're going to go like we did with this mouse. We're going to go back over that with the lighter colour with the mustard. Now, oops, as we did with this one, we might find the colour fades a little bit. You can't see the difference, but excuse me, that's okay. Just make it nice and vibrant and warm. That was my aim with this one. And then worry about whether the shading shows up after. I think it might look a little bit too bright. It's quite a pretty autumnal colour. I know we're not in autumn at the minute, although when you're watching this video it might be autumn for all I know. Or in your part of the world it could very well be autumn, because spring is coming here in the UK, which means in Australia I guess you're going into autumn and getting some cooler days. Some of you might be relieved it's a bit cooler. I know I would be. I really do not like warm weather, but I was actually talking to my sister earlier about that. I've gone massively out of the lines there. I'm not going to worry. And she was saying how we have to have our heating on a lot in this house. It's not very warm. And she said, oh, you ought to insulate it more. And I said, well, it's a bit tricky to do it. We've talked about it. There are advantages and disadvantages, and we're not sure it's what we want to do. So I'm going to go in with the Foxy Brown and put a few more highlights under, well, not highlights, shadow underneath each one, like we did on this one. Not as much as we did with the stink bug, but just a little bit. Anyway, and she said, oh, I'd far rather be warm in the winter. And I said, actually, no, because the insulation makes your house warm in the summer as well. And that I would not be able to bear. I find it difficult already at times. I think part of the problem is we live in a high house in that it's tall, so the bedrooms at the top of the house get very warm, and we have contemplated sleeping in the kitchen because it's the coolest room, but I don't think it would be very comfortable or welcoming or anything. It'd be a bit strange, I think. I know some people in the street actually transfer their sitting room and bedroom over in the different seasons, so that in the winter when it's cooler they put their bedroom upstairs, and then in the summer it gets too hot they move it down a little bit. But it's not something that we can practically do. She lived on her own. I think it was a little bit easier, whereas there's 4 of us and one reception room, well 2, but one can't be used because it's full of stuff. So it would be tricky. Now I'm thinking that this is a pile of seeds. It's not just a scattering. So in between them I'm going to use this dark colour, this Foxy Brown that I've used already, to fill in so it looks like there's some behind. Don't worry, it's quite dark, I know. We're going to go over it in a minute and blend it down. Blend it down? That's the right word. Tone it down a little bit. So I'm just filling in the gaps. It's really simple with this colour. After all that effort of trying to keep it in the lines, and now I'm just filling it in. But it's okay. But anyway, I would rather be cold in the winter at the moment. I think as I get older I may change my mind. I know my dad really feels the cold, so that might happen to me. Okay, I'm thinking these are just sort of scatterings rather than part of the pile. And I'm going to go over that where I filled in the gaps. I'm going to use the mustard just to brighten it, like we did with the seeds themselves, but because we've got that darker colour underneath, it won't be as bright, and you will be able to tell that it's supposed to be sort of slightly shadowed and behind the rest, hopefully. If it doesn't go dark enough, you can always add another layer of the brown. And the joy of this is it doesn't matter if you go over the lines, because everything else is this colour anyway. Yeah, so there we are. We have our little pile of corn. Let's just move the mouse back into view. I can take a little photo for my thumbnail while I'm just signing off. I'm going to make that do for today. I think it was quite long, but I'm definitely going to come back and we'll start the house, because that's the bit I can't wait to start. The mouse was the bit I was a bit more worried about, so I thought I'd get the mouse out of the way first and not procrastinate. And I think he looks cute and cuddly, so I'm really pleased. But we'll do the house, which is the fun bit in my head. Anyway, I think it's going to be fun next time. So thank you for watching. Tune in tomorrow for the next instalment, or if you are not watching this on the day it was released, then you might find the next instalment is around somewhere that you can go and find it. I'll try and link to them in the description once I've recorded all of them and uploaded all of them, and I can put some links in for you. But thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.